It's understanding who the person that runs the business is, who's the driving force, what are they trying to achieve. And then from there, you start to identify different things that create an opportunity. And in my process, for everything that I do, it's considering who is the end user of anything.
Hey legends, Damien here, the creator and founder of Apex Unleashed. Really looking forward to you today, to seeing today's episode, and hopefully for you, it's the gateway for you finding out a little bit about yourself and how you can help you move forward with your goals, hopes and dreams.
Hey everybody, it's Damien Piotr here from Apex Unleashed. Again, I have an awesome guest with me, Ryan Buckland. Mate, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Oh, look, mate, couldn't be better in the world we're in. Now, for our guests that haven't met you and don't know you, mate, tell us a little bit about what you do, the agencies that you run, and the question we will answer at the end of the podcast is being an entrepreneur to you is. So the floor is yours, my man.
I guess so. I'm a young guy from Oz, 30 years old now. I love to travel. I love business. I love to read. I love people and culture and food and all of those things. So my life has kind of created this foundation of trying to understand how to earn a living, but being free to celebrate all the things that I love and enjoy. Started off in the music business, entertainment business, and got to do some really cool things in that. And yeah, now I travel the world kind of living that lifestyle.
That's awesome, man. And Creative Dreams, where did that name come from? Because I'm a sucker for a title. How did you come up with that?
So originally I came up with the slogan first, which was dream while you're awake. Awesome. And I was like 15 or 14 and it just stuck with me, that slogan. And then Creative Dreams originally was Creative Dreams Entertainment. And that was when I was just like starting in the music side, and I was like 16, 17, and I was starting with a bunch of different people that were into entertainment. And over a period of time, it slowly evolved into different things. And it was CDE for a while because Creative Dreams Entertainment. And then as I shifted into the agency, so probably from my 18th birthday, so from like 2008 to 2015, 16, it was Creative Dreams Entertainment. Yeah. And then it evolved Creative Dreams Agency from 2016 till now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, it's so interesting is that I like just going back to a social experiment is that I just believe we're constantly in a social experiment called life, right? Because that's what it is. And what I'm learning quickly and even talking to yourself is that you've got such positivity behind the meaning of what you do. And there's a lot of people that we know in our communities that are like that. But when we jump out of our community, for me, it's all about intention. And you see the intention fluctuate, right? And for you, when we talk about positive meanings, and it was ingrained in you at a very young age, you're talking at 15, talking about creative dreams and, dream while you're awake, is that something must have happened to you when you were growing up to understand is that life is about that positive intention, yeah?
I guess so. I've never known myself to be any different. Like, okay. I grew up in a like a rough environment, and it took me years to kind of like, actually, I grew up around a lot of darkness. And so, but I didn't really recognize even until I was like 27, just how much of an impact that it had on me. Wow. And so like, in all honesty, that place and that positivity and that mindset, like at the end of the day, it's either live, like this is how I feel I was thinking at 14, 15, 13. I started writing business plans at like 8 or 9 years old, 10 years old. I didn't know what they were, but I'd come up with business ideas and stuff. My grandfather had a construction company. And so like I just picked up things and I would sit in his office, and my mum, who was a single mum, would take me to Chamber of Commerce meetings, and I'd be like the little kid drawing in the corner at like 8 o'clock at night because there was nowhere else for me to be. So I was just digesting all this information. But then on top of that, because of some of the dark stuff that I'd experienced and me and my mum had experienced, again, only really probably learning and understanding how big of an impact that had on me later. It was either death, like die, or succeed. Like there was no other way. Like, and it was to the point where life had been so crap before that I would probably pick death over not getting to where I wanted to be in life.
Wow.
Like, because choosing not to live was better than like not getting to where I wanted to be. So, and that philosophy and that mindset took me down some dark places, but it also got me to some great places as well.
You know, you could almost be reading off my notes about where we're going in this conversation, and you didn't even know it. You know, my next comment to you was going to talk about, it's so interesting, is that to me, it's all about how you tell the story to yourself. And, you know, circling the way back into that darkness you talked about, is that I asked you a question last week, and I think we really bonded over it, about how we overcome adversity. But I think the best question to ask people is that, what's the first task you do for you that helps you with your self-care? And then we can work our way backwards off that. And the reason why I ask that is that a lot of people don't understand self-care, and we're talking about business and what an entrepreneur is. And for me, it starts with mindset and how you look after yourself, and then things grow from there. So if you just want to share with the listeners about what self-care means to you now and how it's progressed over the years.
Yeah, for sure. So, man, if we're talking about what self-care looks for me today,
it's deep, right?
Yeah, it's super deep, but it's waking up and it's practicing gratitude. For me, prayer and meditation. And for me, what that means in my mind is meditation is an internal process and prayer is an external process. The easiest way I would articulate it as well, to give further context, is meditation brings me closer to myself, and prayer takes me closer to God or the universe or whatever name you want to proclaim, put on it. And I think both are important. They're important to me fundamentally. And I think experiences in the past, dealing with like suicidal thoughts, dealing with not just contemplations of suicide, but getting pretty close to ending my life and being in dark places, to wake up every morning today and just start the morning on my knees, which is not unusual in ancient cultures, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism. Many people in the world start their day by either thanking whatever they believe in or just showing some sort of gratitude. And then secondly, just praying for the best, believing for the best. I said to someone today, actually, I said to them, like, I was talking about dreamers, and I was saying, I think everyone deep down is a dreamer, but not everyone is a believer. And difference between being a dreamer and a believer are very different things. And sometimes people can, especially in the past, would misunderstand my slogan of "Dream while you're awake." And the reason that I came up with it was because I wanted people in general to stop sleeping. Like, let's live it out. Let's believe in it. Let's live it. So, yeah, I'd say that's where it started, or that's where I start my day, and that's where I get my energy from. And then it's just reminding yourself, like, how bad is it really? Like, once I meditate, do some breathing exercises, I put some really good time into learning from a lot of amazing people from a number of walks of life, religions, faiths, backgrounds. And I have my own, but I was able to learn from people that had the complete opposite. And like, it's almost, if the world tells you like, don't learn from those people, my instant thought is, let me go learn from those people. I kind of get attracted to it. So yeah, like that's for me, that really helps me wake up, feel different. I would say today, since I really hit that, like 27, it's when I really hit to try and understand that. And since that day, like, and since that period of time, it was a tough time before that in the lead up to it. But since then, I would say I've pretty much completely, utterly destroyed any form of anxiety, depression, darkness, doubt. It's all gone. And if it exists, it's overcome within instant. So I feel like I've got, like, I don't know. It's amazing. It's really, like, this stuff that I do for me has been revolutionarily changing for me. Like, it's just changed my whole life.
It's your new superpower, hey, is that I had a conversation today, and there's 7.9 billion individual opinions today, because every person can look at exactly the same thing and no two people have the exact same thought process to what just happened. And that's just
100%.
that's just the way it is. And mate, leading into I suppose the meat of the conversation is that, there's so many ways that people can start advertising, right? Because that's what we're really here to talk about, is that, creative dreams as a basis. And you've got a caption in there is that numbers don't lie, right? And people they're awesome at talking about, I've got a product, I've got an idea, what do I do? And obviously they call you and you give them some advice and they go, what do I do? You're like, well, it's deep, it's complex, there's a lot of moving parts. And then you start working it out from there. So it's not that we ever give free advice on the podcast. We want to give people the opportunity to expand their growth and their thoughts around things. Is that people want to do a lot of things their own way, right? And they want to be the creator of the idea. In advertising, when you start, what is a concept that you constantly have a conversation with people about, well, this is how we're going to get started, and then we'll start making decisions once we have more information? Or as the professional, how do you start that conversation with someone who comes to you and says, I've got this product, what do we do?
I think firstly, it's understanding who am I talking to? Like as an individual, I really consider the person that I'm talking to, why they're running the business, what they're hoping to achieve from the business. And for me, like it's really not that much about the money. Like I've said to a few people, even just this week, like there's certain goals that I'm hitting in my life and in my agency world that makes me kind of get to a point where, like, I might literally start saying, I don't really want to take on more clients. The only people I'll take on is people I want to work with for free, because I just want to encourage people to live awesome lives, and I'd rather work with people that really care about it. So yeah, for me, it's understanding who the person that runs the business is, who's the driving force, what are they trying to achieve, and then from there you start to identify different things that create an opportunity. And in my process, for everything that I do, it's considering who is the end user of anything. So whether I'm selling a pair of shoes, or whether I'm driving leads for a fencing business, or maybe I'm selling coffee for a brand, like all of those three verticals are completely different, but psychologically, emotionally, mentally, the behavior of the user doesn't really change. Human beings are fundamentally the same in a lot of ways. Like the way we behave is very, very similar. So it's like understanding who's the audience, and then there might be multiple audiences. So it's really breaking down, like, who are the people you're trying to reach, and then what is your budget? So like we have campaigns where people are spending 10 to 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month. But then I also have people that spend less than $1,000 a month that I've worked with. I've got people that can't spend a dime on advertising. And all marketing really is, especially in 2021, 2022, like I hate the separation of marketing and sales, because to me, they're both the same thing now. They're not two separate things. The end goal is the same. So, if I was in a position where I didn't have a dime, I would door knock. I would go talk to people. I'd ask around. I would do research for whatever it is. And even for me now, like the one main reason I have the agency is so that I have the luxury when I wake up in the morning and think to myself, I want to make skateboards.
Yeah.
I've never skated, but like I was at the skate park and I saw like these amazing guys doing these amazing tricks. And I was like, man, I want to start a skateboard company. And so
I'm new skills.
Yeah. And so, but I'll find the guy on Instagram that makes custom decks right now, but has no idea about digital marketing. And I'll step into his world and be like, okay, I want to do a skate company because I see the opportunity. And then I guess for me, within 24 to 72 hours, I can see if the opportunity is viable. And I'm going through about 3 or 4 of those opportunities every week as an individual. Yeah.
I love that, man. I'm gonna borrow that in my Sunday reflections about step into their world. Jeff Bezos, he talks about it. It's like I think about the end user, about no one's going to want their products, if you have it overnight, they're not going to accept it to have it in a week's time. Like it's always like, how do you make things, closer to the end user? And it makes sense. And, I'm so passionate about Apex Unleashed, it's about you need to pick your mountain. Whereas we spend a lot of our lives, someone imposes a mountain in front of us, right? So there's situations and circumstances in life where your mountain is chosen for you, yeah? And you're talking about exactly is that I've gotten to a point in my life where I look at the mountains of opportunities I've got. I pick the mountains that best suit my needs and what I want to do. and then I step into their world, and then you're facilitating that transaction of getting from the bottom of the mountain to the top, and then you just keep going because it never ends. And that's the basis, and this is how this was created. And it sets my soul on fire to know that we have a community here that understands the baseline of it, is that when you step into other people's world, and I've got a bit of different view, is that advertising and marketing mean two different things to me. But you're right, marketing and sales, that because my role is that I was a sales executive. I would consider myself an advertising and marketing guru now, because it's all about three different elements that I work in, and it's so cool. Now, we were talking very deeply just before about a couple of things, and I've got a great quote here, and I love quotes because they mean a lot to me, is that I'm a big believer in stoicism, right? And because it's a great practice learnt in business, is that no matter what has previously happened, what is currently happening, or is going to happen, the only thing that the universe tells you that there is constant change, yeah? So your love of the fate that you're in is something you need to embrace. So when you're talking to someone who doesn't want to spend marketing money, so this isn't someone that doesn't have the money, it's someone who has money but they're scared to spend it, what would you talk to them about? So for me, I'd tell them to choose their normal. So you can choose to be where you are and you know your outcome. But I've seen a new normal by spending money and getting people in front of you, and I know the outcomes potentially you can have. You're not selling the opportunity to someone, you're asking them to choose their new normal. How do you talk to people about embracing the opportunity that they have in front of themselves? Because at the moment, when you hear someone say that, I go, you're the handbrake to your own opportunity. And how do you help people move past that?
Yeah, 100%. That's really, and it's something that comes up quite a bit because I get a lot of referrals from people directly. One, most people, if they look at their business or their lifestyle, they're already spending money inappropriately, usually somewhere, right? And they're splurging on stuff that doesn't make sense. So if you're willing to invest in things that you can't justify to yourself or anybody else what they provide your life or your business, let's just talk about business. There are people paying way too much to, I don't know, look after their accounts. Maybe they're paying too much of a plan. Maybe their email packages, maybe they have 10 people in their business, but they're paying for 30 email accounts, and each email account has 1 terabyte, and the usage for the 10 that are on there is less than 20 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Straight away, you're misspending your money. So when we start to look at digital marketing, usually if someone's already speaking to me, they're interested in it. They're just not convinced. If you're having a conversation with me, you must be at least interested. Now, depending on who the client is and where they're at, if they're passionate about what they do and I can see an opportunity for them, then put myself in a position where, look, like, one, marketing, if I'm being a sales guy for a minute, marketing is in most places in the world is a tax deductible expense.
True.
You can claim on this, right? So
is free if you have the right accountant, right?
100%. And let's just say we spend $1,000. If those it depends on the business you're in, but let's just say those $1,000 lead to 5 leads. And this is worst case scenario. You get 5 leads, and of those 5 leads, maybe like, let's take the example of a guy I've been working with in the US. So he comes to me, he's a contractor. His projects cost between $2,000 to $10,000. But he spends $1,000 on the first month just to see how it goes. And maybe we have a bad month and we only get 5 leads. But out of those 5 leads, 2 of them are terrible. One of them is like, I'll do it in about 2 months. I can't afford it. The other 2 are like, I'm in. One is $1,500, one is $3,000, right? Even if that guy walks away with 2 of those checks and one in the pipeline from spending the $1,000, he's already done better, right? So he's already grown his business. Secondly, you may have a case where, and I've got another example of a guy where the leads come in, but the pipeline is a lot longer. For example, the projects that they're working on are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000.
Yeah.
The people they're talking to have to go and get finance. But he now finishes the month with 10 to 20, 30, 40 extra leads in his pipeline than he did the month before.
Sure.
I think when you start to look at those numbers, again, numbers don't lie, right? So you have to be doing something really, really wrong to not understand that this is going to help and this is going to aid you. If you could rewind back to 1986 and you had a way to knock on every single one of your customers' doors for your business, 1986, and you were able to knock on every single one of your specifically targeted customers' doors in 1986 and say, hey, I've got this incredible offer for you today.
Yeah.
When people in 1986 were knocking on doors doing just that, but they weren't knocking on doors that they knew. Today, I have the opportunity without leaving my office, my bedroom, even my digital device, my hand, and I can knock on the door of every single person that matters to me. Not all of them are going to open, but I only need a small percentage to do it. And
you don't need a business degree to understand the idea around compound theory, and there's great books around it as well. Is that, you know, when we talk about these different things, is that, you know, the cost of not doing something is now never been more relevant in this world, because you know what COVID did? It made really smart people better at problem solving. And if I could be so bold to say that, is that the way we solve problems now moving forward will never be the same, because we've been given an opportunity to do something in a short period of time. I've got two examples, but I like this one the most. I was with a company 7 years ago, and they said it would take 2 years for remote working to happen because of all their extenuating circumstances. In March 2020, it took them 3 days to get everyone working from home. So that time period was, and we're talking, it's a generation ago. I know things have changed, but 3 days, when you get given a time frame of when you need to get something done, it's amazing how you can solve problems in a creative space. Because the people I like to invest my time in now is that not only do I want you to bring an issue to the table, I want you to think about a possible resolution. And why you bring other people in for resolution is that I can't think of everything, and I don't need to be the smartest person in the room, but I need a group collaboration of people that help us come to a decision that works for more people than just myself. And that's where it comes from about, you know, what need are you supporting in business now? And mate, just quickly on that, and I just love the work you're doing and how thoughtful you are with people. For you and your business, what are you looking at supporting coming into 2022 and beyond? Like, what's the passion project for you that sets your soul on fire, that no matter when you wake up and you're tired and you don't feel like doing it, that you keep going? Because people like yourself don't just do things just because. There's a bigger purpose for you, isn't there?
1,000%. There's a bigger purpose behind almost everything that I do. But I think, to sum it up, it's to provide opportunity for people, both people that work for me and the people that I work with, and to get it to a point where, like, we pay people differently. We live differently. Like, I don't have an office. I can live anywhere in the world. I can be where I want to be, provide opportunities for people in the most remote, far off places, and not look for anything in return. Like, I couldn't give a shit if anyone knows my name. I don't want to be remembered for anything. I have the only being in existence that I'm trying to make happy every day is God. And for me, that's a being that asked me to do 3 or 4 things: love other people unconditionally, and invest and pour everything you have into them, and do your best to just follow what I put you on the earth to do. And so I just have to wake up and do those 3 things. I have no, beyond that, no other intention. Like, all the stuff that I used to have that used to follow me and stuff like that, the ambitions and stuff, I still have them. They're just different. It's like,
it's hard.
Like, it's just, for me, it's like, I don't know, it's just so much better. And to come out the other side of some of the other stuff I've been through, like, those are the driving forces. I could go into a lot of depth on it, but I think for me, it's people. At an essence, that's what it is. Yeah.
I'd like to think I'm a clever person, but have you just answered the question I asked at the start of being an entrepreneur to you? You just answer that question?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the entrepreneurs I was inspired by as a kid was Richard Branson. Like
Yeah.
I was obsessed with him. Now, one of the first things I ever say to people about him and why I like him so much is I remember reading he'd created, when I read his book the first time, like a virgin, and I was like very, very young. I was in my teens. And I remember thinking like, and I already liked him just from what I'd seen of him.
Yeah.
But I remember reading he'd created 300 millionaires
Yeah.
on a like, and that's just 300 millionaires, and it went down and down, and just all the people he'd impacted. And then you see like when one of his companies goes bad. There was a time when Virgin Airlines was doing bad, and he was the owner out in Australia. And when it went bad, he managed to find a way to still offer those people that he had to retrench jobs at his fitness facilities. And of course, like it would be great if he could have given them all a job, but I like the idea that there are people in the world like that are doing things that aren't always seen. And that's the other thing I like. I don't want to be seen. I'd rather put 1,000 people on. There's amazing people I meet every day that should have the spotlight. I'm just behind the scenes guy that likes to play some role in it. And if I can give people a platform, then that's what I'm supposed to do. That's entrepreneurship. That's marketing.
Yeah, it's so good. And you know, it's just a beautiful thing to lead into, is that my personal note to myself about entrepreneurship is that, so for me, it's sometimes about choose what risk you want to take, right? And for me, the risk sometimes, and you already spoke about it, is because when you're growing, you get to support others more. And so you're not taking a risk when you're trying to support others to grow. You're actually supporting that growth for them. And you're giving them the opportunity to do things that they never thought were possible. Because that's what entrepreneurship is to me, is that create the risk that, you know, you've got to have a little bit of an idea of like the pitfalls of it. You've got to be clever about it. We're not being a bit woo-woo and just saying, we'll just support everyone and everything will be okay. Because there are people that take advantage of that. There's no doubt. But the idea of that, when you get someone to a point through their actions that you support, and they're doing things they never thought were possible, they're never the same person again. And your bond, like that is a lifetime bond that will never end. So that memory and moment you guys have together, guys or girls, is that it's always that thing, is that in 7 years' time, when you're having a conversation with someone, they go, yeah, Ryan helped me with that. And looking back on it, is that it was so helpful, is that he didn't ask me for anything, but intuitively I knew when someone else was looking for help and support that I gave it to them. And that prosperity is the difference that moves the world forward. It's just one good act at a time. And it's so cool to have that. And mate, for you, I think you'll understand this, is that, you know, we don't white knuckle business. So we don't bear down, grit our teeth and just hope to survive. We demand ourselves that opportunity to grow. And what advice do you have for people to demand in themselves the opportunity to grow, or give themselves permission to give themselves the opportunity to grow? Because there's a lot of great, smart, clever people, they just don't get out of their own way. How do you reckon you can help them with that?
I mean, there's a few things that come to mind. I think it's remembering, like, one, you've only got one chance at this, like, and that seems so fundamentally like crazy, but how much time do you have on this earth, and how much time do you have with the people you love on this earth, with the people you care for? And fundamentally, let's just break it down to that. Like, how much time do you have? And even the time you think you have, you may not have. You know, like, this may sound pretty crazy, but I think of like the poor people today that aren't going to live past a certain age. And it makes me feel different, because it makes me feel like right now, I appreciate the fact that I've been granted 30 years. At this moment, someone's not going to be. And they probably are more deserving of it than me. But it's that mindset that reminds me that because I think like that, and because part of me is conscious of that, I can repair myself. And there's a lot of shit that came with that old stuff that I talk about. There was a lot of baggage, a lot of dark stuff. In those phases, I treated people poorly. I treated myself poorly. I had these inconsistencies. And by getting to a point where I had to own it, I was able to look at it and fix it. And right now, it's never too late. If you're breathing, it's never too late. Take those things that are stopping you.
And the values. It's the values, man. Like I'm the same person that you're talking about. Is that, have I done right by everybody in my life 100% of the time? No, no one has.
Yeah.
When we talk about values and how that works, man, you're so right. Is that we're blessed with the opportunity in front of us if we take it, and it's so true, man. So, look, probably you and I will probably go on about this for hours, but mate, where can people find you who are genuinely looking at an option to move life forward and to get a bit of support? Where can they find you, man? Are you on socials? How do you like to be contacted?
I don't. That's the funny thing. Like, I'm the most hardest person to contact. I'm not trying to sell my business. I'm not trying to pitch for work. Like, I don't want people to listen to this and call me to grow their business. Like, that's awesome. If you that inspired, like, contact Damien directly. But
I like that. Yeah.
I'd rather people listen to this and do something for themselves. Like, there's nothing that you can add to where I'm at. And that's no disrespect to anybody listening. But I don't need you to follow me on Instagram. I don't need you to add me on Facebook. If 30 seconds of something that I've said resonates with you enough to go and do something great for yourself, go do that. Call someone that you love today and tell them you love them, and then call someone you do business with and tell them you're going to make 10x what you made last month, and just figure out how the hell to do it. That's all I would say. Like,
that's cool, man.
I'm a social media guy, but my goal is to be on a beach in Fiji or Mexico and have no Instagram account or anything like that. Like,
man.
I love social for what it's capable of, and I love it for my personal life, but I'm not trying to be that guy.
That's cool, man, because it is the tool, isn't it? It's about, like we talked about from the start, about connecting people from one point to the next. And that digital letterbox drop in 1986 has changed, because now everyone's in your digital letterbox, and there's so much noise that's in the thing called life, is that no one actually knows what things are genuine, what's not. And then there's that perceived, like the word trust, I'll leave with this, is that we've never been in a world where people trust less. Because
I know.
And everyone's like, trust me. Cool, man. You start a conversation with that, I'm out.
And since I had this epiphany and these changes in my life, I can happily get on a call like this. I used to care about followers and stuff. And now it's like I can get on a call or I can get on a thing and it's like, nah, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to self-promote. Like, it doesn't affect me. Like, you know, I get a lot of work doing what I do. So I don't need that push. And that doesn't mean people that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just like, for me, I just know where I sit and I just keep in that lane. And so it's different, but it works.
Man, I love that. You're writing your own story. You're in your own lane, doing what works for you. I love mental point of origin. I love being around people that have that mental point of origin, is that, you know, you don't want to express to impress. You want to be internal with yourself. And, you know, that expression of who you are, man, is just vindicated right there.
Who am I going to impress? Another person that I don't know, that doesn't know me, that doesn't care about me.
Yeah.
Who am I going to impress? All I need to impress is my wife when she gets home, or
you're right, man.
Or my dogs or something like that. Like,
for me, it's my children. Yeah, we've all got
there
that.
You go, bro.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. I love that. And man, signing off on today's session, it's Damien Piotr here from Apex Unleashed. We will have some comments below, and we always get back to people on that. It's been a legendary experience, Ryan, man, and we'll be chatting soon. Until next time, guys, we'll hit you up shortly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to today's episode. I always talk to people about my little journal, and this is the one I've got. It's not my first one, but it really is about your thoughts and actions become really important when you write them down. So don't forget to do those daily habits. They make all the difference. Please like and subscribe to all our channels. We are here to create and share content with you that helps you move forward in your journey as well, and we'd love to hear about your success stories.